Hello people of the internet, welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing? I know that's a bit of a loaded question in current Darkest Timeline, but I genuinely hope that you are all doing well. Today is the first anniversary of this very YouTube channel that you're watching right now. Hey! Just imagine like party poppers and confetti and stuff like that. So April the 18th, 2019 is when this very channel was created. Quite honestly, this first year of this channel may be the most proud of anything I've ever done on YouTube in my life. And given that I've been on YouTube for the best part of 12 years now, that's kind of saying a lot. The stuff I've done on this channel so far, the videos I've made, are some of the stuff that I am the most proud of that I've ever made. Not just because it's been a lot of new things for me, obviously launching Another Station, Another Mile, that in itself has been its own sort of beast of just joy, to be honest. I've really enjoyed making every Another Station, Another Mile episode. For context on the whole out of my comfort zone, doing things I'd never done before aspect, I first had the idea for Another Station, Another Mile in January of 2018. And I uploaded the first episode of it onto this channel in July, or it might have been August 2019. So it took me a year and a half, having had the idea, to finally realize it and put it out there. I am legendary for coming up with a billion different ideas for projects, maybe even starting some, and then never finishing them. I not only had the idea for Another Station, Another Mile, I was determined to actually see it through. I was determined not to talk myself down from this because I was getting a lot of imposter syndrome about it, as I do when I make most of my videos, to be honest with you. I'm terrible for this, comparing myself to other people on YouTube, especially people who have much bigger platforms and much more resources and sometimes even a different audience, and they do different things to me. So why am I even comparing myself to them? But no, I do that, and I get a big imposter syndrome. I get, especially with Another Station, Another Mile, I got very sort of, why is anyone going to want to listen to you ramble on about old trains? I mean, really, I can't think of anything more boring for the average YouTube viewer to watch. I mean, why the hell would they do that? Also, you probably don't know as much as you think you do about railways, so someone's going to be there to correct you. You're going to get stuff wrong. It's going to just be annoying and it just got to a point where I was like, no, do you know what? You've had this idea, see it through, and then see where it goes from there. And wouldn't you know, it's gone serious places. I've loved every single episode I've made so far. By the time of the East Lancashire Railway episode in Series 2, which is my favourite Another Station on the Mile episode so far, I kind of thought to myself, this is the closest yet that I have got to the original vision I had for what Another Station on the Mile would look like, what it would feel like. That episode is the closest I've got to fully realising that vision. And honestly, I would feel the same way about every episode had they not even been uploaded, had one person watched them, but a ridiculous amount of you have ended up watching them and really enjoying them. And what makes me even happier, if anything, than seeing comments by people who are already into their railways and their trains and their rail history and everything, really enjoying them, which is amazing, I love that. But what almost means even more than that are the people who normally would not give a second look to train channels or train videos at all, but have watched them and have really enjoyed them, and it stoked some sort of interest in their own mind. That's amazing. It's always amazing to be getting through to new people or getting through to people, and ultimately that's the point of the series. That is the point. Convincing people that no, there is a reason why I feel so strongly and I get so much love and joy out of being a rail fan and being so fascinated with railway history and these old locomotives and routes and everything else. And I'm so happy that I am successfully able to convey that message to you, and you're feeling a bit of that love and joy and wonder as well. That means the world, honestly. And then there's all the different other kind of videos I've done on the channel. There's the gaming videos that are like not strictly just like Let's Play videos, like the grid retrospective that I was really proud of. Even though I'm probably not going to do more content like that, I'm just happy that I've done it. The two most important things about the channel so far and why I'm so proud of it is, number one, the fact that I have seen through so many ideas. I've done so many new things that in previous years my anxiety would have absolutely talked myself out of going near. And also, the other thing that I'm most proud of is that almost like on the roots of a tree, I see this, I don't know if it comes across in the videos, but I see myself actually getting like more confident on the camera, more comfortable in myself, changing things up, learning things, growing a bit. Not to sound too sort of pretentious or anything, but I genuinely feel like I've I'm going somewhere with this channel, and every video is showing a step forward in so many different things, many of them personal to me. For someone who has dealt with the gamut of, you know, autism and the you know, trying to work out how my own brain works, that's a bit wide, a bit different to a lot of other people's, plus depression issues, plus anxiety, plus everything else, that is huge to me. I spot these. Like I say, I don't know if they come across to you guys watching these videos at home, but I do spot it, and I'm so happy with how far I've come. But for now, I'm going to have another sip of tea. And having had a sip of tea, it's time to get into your questions. Good friend and moderator on my Twitch channel, at TheRainmeister1. Before you did them on YouTube, what inspired me to A, make stop motions with die casts, and B, play video games? Now, A is a reference to my biggest YouTube channel so far, the one that I left behind 4 years ago now, Team Bomber Sports. We'll probably cover that a fair bit more in this video. But my most famous and popular videos on there were stop motion animation, short films and skits with die-cast cars, races and, you know, things like that, trying to make them look like real races, but with toy cars. And it was good fun. And I'll be quite honest with you, I didn't do those kind of stop motions before I was on YouTube. The closest thing I got is I was messing around with stop motion when I first started the channel, and one of the first videos on the channel is a little, it's like 20 seconds long. It's just two like action figures having a sort of gunfight or something. Can you shut up, please? I'm trying to film in here. So I was already messing around with different kinds of filmmaking techniques then anyway. And then when I got into that channel and I ended up in the NASCAR community and the motorsport community there, and I saw people doing stop motion animations with cars, with model cars and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is a thing. I want to give this a go. As for playing video games, that's quite an interesting one, because I've always played video games, like ever since I was however small I was when I first got a Sega Mega Drive and Sonic the Hedgehog. I've always been playing video games. I've always enjoyed them. I've just sort of grown up with them. I remember when I was very young, sinking so many hours into the original Crash Bandicoot trilogy and Spyro the Dragon on PlayStation 1. I still remember the game that fully got me into being a petrolhead and into cars for life, which was Gran Turismo 2. That's why I still remember that so much. This question comes from @MoxieMcMurder, who, fun fact, was the person to give me my first ever published byline as a writer stroke journalist. She used to run a magazine called Lee Jammer Magazine. It was a roller derby magazine. And yeah, first editor to ever publish me under my own byline. I still have the copies of the magazine that I was published in. So shout out to Moxie. You don't forget those sort of people in your career. She also asks, what channels do I enjoy watching on YouTube, and would I ever consider doing a collaboration with another YouTuber? The two who I find myself being the most inspired by right now are Jeff Marshall. He has his own channel. He also has the All the Stations channel with Vicky, and of which I've actually got the book of their All the Stations project. There it is. What he's done for me and continues to do, him and Vicky have both done this, is shown that there is not only an audience, but a genuine love and an interest for sharing railway history, trains, and just that whole thing, the whole unadulterated, pure love of trains and railways and being a train nerd, that if you put it out there, you're not just going to get laughed at. People are actually going to watch with interest, and Jeff is proof of how you do it. I can only thank him and Vicky for being such huge influences on the channel as it is. Without them, there is no Another Station, Another Mile. It's that simple. As for whether I want to collaborate with both of them, let me just think about that for a nanosecond. Yes, absolutely. I'd do it in a heartbeat. So, Jeff and Vicky, if you're interested, let me know. Hit me up. And my other favourite YouTuber, person that I love watching and someone I consider a big influence, a lot on the personal side as well as on the YouTube side, is a guy named Jimmy Broadbent. His influence runs deep on multiple levels. Not only is he the guy that reinvigorated my interest in sim racing and racing games, I constantly just enjoy watching his videos, watching his live streams and everything. But perhaps more than any of the actual content or YouTube stuff that Jimmer makes, his biggest inspiration on me has consistently been in terms of, he is probably one of the realest YouTubers you will ever watch. This is a guy who is completely out there in the open. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He constantly talks very honestly, painfully so in some cases, about his own battles with depression, his own battles with anxiety, his own battles with borderline personality disorder. I admire how he's so humble and so just straight ahead. This is a guy who doesn't hide anything. This is a guy who is not, you know, there is a certain amount of an entertainment persona when he's on the camera, but at the same time, it's not that far removed from the real Jimmy. They're basically, if it's a Venn diagram, it's a circle. He inspires me in so many ways and continues to do so, from a simple case of, if I'm feeling rough about myself, if I'm low on confidence, if the depression black dog is looming large again, if anxiety is really nibbling away at me and undermining my self-confidence or anything, I can look at Jimmer and go, well, he's dealt with a lot of the same things you are dealing with as well, and look at how well he's done. If he can do it, you've got a chance. That's so powerful. Yeah, I'd love to collab, it'd be amazing, but honestly, I'd just love to have a natter. He's very cool, and we love you, Jimmer. You're the best. Right, so far all the questions have been on Twitter. Here are a couple that I got from Instagram, starting with @xnick291x. Plans going forward after the pandemic has passed. Get on with Another Station on the Mile Season 3. It's very simple. I would already have been out filming Another Station on the Mile Season 3 right about now, had things not gone the way they have in the world right now. I've got loads of ideas. I can't wait to just get on a train again, go somewhere and start filming those again. That's the biggest plan right now. That's the biggest plan for once the pandemic and the lockdown has passed. Another Station on the Mile Season 3. I can't wait to get out and work on that for you again. @EwanMac asks, dream Another Station on the Mile location. Well, this ties in rather nicely with the last question, doesn't it? The main one right now, and the main sort of bucket list one I want to tick off, is the West Highland line in Scotland. This is a line that has been voted one of the greatest, most picturesque, most beautiful railway journeys in the world. It features the viaduct that has been the scene of a lot of the shots of the Hogwarts Express in Harry Potter films. It's just this beautiful, meandering, like through the Highlands, over and under. It's single track at some point. It has these very old school ways of operating, this gorgeous scenery. It's like nothing else I have ever seen. And I cannot wait for the opportunity to journey on that at some point for Another Station on the Mile. Back on Twitter now, @MichaelGillard20 asks, what kit do I use for post-editing? Very simple. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I've used it for easily going on nearly 10 years now, and I'm just familiar with it. It's just familiarity. It does everything I need it to. I also run the audio through Adobe Audition and clean up certain things and just sort of level off so it doesn't peak and doesn't, clip over. I just sort of level out. So I kind of boost the lower. If I'm sort of talking away from the camera or something and you can't really hear me, I can boost that up while also clipping the louder parts where, especially if like wind noise, you can cut that back, clean up the noise, any popping, stuff like that. It's not like a huge editing cinema team here making short movies. It's just me and my computer. And I have pretty much self-taught all of the things that I do in Premiere Pro and Audition down the years. So there you go. That's all I do, really. My dear friend Jenny @YourBookBegins asks, what's the type of video I'd like to do but haven't got around to? And are there any videos I'd like to do but don't think they go on my channel? Dealing with the first one, there are quite a few types of videos that I haven't got around to doing yet, and I like that. I love the fact that there's such a reserve of ideas. Yeah, I do have plenty of videos that I'd love to do on this channel. I can't wait. I've recently launched the Small Train Chronicles. I can't wait to do more episodes of that. I've mentioned in previous videos that I would like to do vlogs that I would tentatively name Show and Tell, which is where I show off something cool that I've got, whether it's like a record or a book or a die-cast model or random quirky stuff like that I'd love to share with you guys on the channel in the manner of, show and tell sessions at school. So I'd also like to do some different kinds of gaming videos as well. So there's plenty of stuff there. As for stuff that I don't think would go on this channel, that's a good question. I like the fact that this channel is kind of varied enough. It's in enough of a lane that you kind of know what you're going to get. You know about me, you know what you're going to get from me, and it's probably going to be train and or car related and some vlogs and stuff from me as well. But there's room for different types of content in there. There's room for, travel vlogs of real trains. There's videos of model trains, there's videos of other stuff, I like to think there's not much that wouldn't go on this channel, and if there was, like for example, I've recently started up a separate Instagram account for posting my poetry. So there's an example of putting making like a separate channel to post a kind of thing that I don't think would be not so much not appropriate, but it's just different enough that I'd want to give it its own space, if that makes sense. I hope that's kind of sort of answered your question there. 2 questions to go now. The penultimate one is from another good friend of mine, @Nay24792, otherwise known as Nay from Armbar Arcade, my partner in crime from that channel. Really happy to hear from you. He's a great guy as well. He asks, what lessons have I learned about YouTube/Twitch and the content creation process in general, from Team Bomber Sports to Armbar Arcade to AJCantFail? There's a few really important lessons I've learned. Probably the most important one is don't play the numbers game. Most of my issues, most of my problems in terms of imposter syndrome and comparing myself to others have come through playing the numbers game. And this is something that massive YouTubers have talked about struggling with, let alone little on me. Especially when it gets to a point where you've got a certain level of popularity out of it. Maybe you were like me, like in the last few years of Team Mobilesports, I was actually earning money out of it. It was actually kind of a job at the time. But you do feel an immense pressure to hit the numbers, to constantly produce content that people want to watch. And you wake up the next morning and, oh, it's got X amount of views, that's good. It's all just numbers, and you end up playing the numbers game, and that's what I did. And the problem was I ended up playing the numbers game to the point that I was just trying to make content that I just could not keep doing on my own, I could not sustain doing on my own, and stuff that I wasn't even feeling doing anymore, stuff that wasn't really true to what I wanted to do and I wasn't enjoying making. So the reason why I just ended up walking away from all that, rather incongruously, I do apologise for that, because I still to this day get people like, why did you stop doing Team Mobilesports? We miss it a lot. I'm like, yeah, I really should have actually just straight up said, listen, I'm leaving, it's been fun, but peace out. But I just sort of went, nope, I'm out, because I was just so burned out and so fed up with it at that point, which sucks. And it's nice now that I can go back and watch stuff on Team Mobilesports and go, no, that's good videos. So I can look back on it with a lot of pride. And it's taken a few years to be able to do that. But the biggest thing was that I got guilty of playing the numbers game, and that's what really burned me out in the end. So that's number one, I would say. Number two is be consistent to whatever level you can be consistent to. And the third thing, and the most important thing, be true to yourself. Be authentic. You can't fake out an audience, and people will suss if you're just doing things to jump on a train, if you're just doing things because, for the wrong reason, should you say, or they're not really you. And that's absolutely not to say that you can't experiment or do stuff that you're not sure whether it is authentic to you or not. And even if that's not what you think you need to be doing to be successful, for example, on Twitch, me and Nay in the Armbar Arcade days used to joke about, well, we're streaming on Twitch. I mean, we're not streaming Fortnite, so we won't be popular, but we didn't care. We were streaming the games that we wanted to play, we were having fun with them, and we picked up a following that way. And now I'm doing the same thing on my own Twitch channel, and, playing Gran Turismo 4 and these indie games and sim racing games on Steam and whatever, and I'm picking up an audience of my own. It's not necessarily about playing what's popular, it's about playing what's true to you and makes you the happiest, and what you can produce the best content from, if that makes sense, and make the videos that are the most authentic to you, because people will ultimately be attracted to watching you for you. That's one thing I've had to learn this year, and someone who's often had a very low sense of self-esteem about themselves, and a big old case of imposter syndrome and anxiety, that's been tricky to get my head around at times, that people actually want to see this person talking to them. So TLDR, don't play the numbers game, be consistent in whatever way suits you, and be your best self, be authentic, be your truest self. If you come across real, people will be attracted to you. People like genuine. And the last question of this Q&A is from @bkelly29, another one of my mod squad from my Twitch channel and an all-around wonderful human being. She asks, what do I feel has been my biggest accomplishment so far with the channel? The East Lancashire Railway episode of Another Station Another Mile, I think, is the video that I'm the most proud of that I've ever made in my life. That is the closest I've got so far to realising the vision, the original vision that I had for Another Station Another Mile in my head. That's the closest I've ever got to making it reality, which is unbelievably cool. Like, you can have an idea in your head and then have no idea how in the hell you're ever gonna make it real. Not only is just doing Another Station Another Mile been a huge step to making these ideas real, but the East Lancashire Railway was like the pinnacle of that. It was an epic episode. And most importantly, what brings me the most sort of satisfaction out of that video is not only am I really proud of it, but it's done really well in terms of views. There's a lot of really good comments on the video. A lot of people have really enjoyed it. And the East Lancashire Railway themselves have messaged me to say how much they enjoyed the video. They've really liked it themselves, and that's really cool to have the seal of approval from the East Lancs Railway themselves that they really liked what I was doing and they got it. That was so cool. That's a big win for me. So that video and everything that sort of accompanied it is definitely my biggest personal accomplishment with the channel this year. Thank you, all of you, for all your questions. They were really well done, really lovely. I've enjoyed answering them. In the meantime, I hope you guys are doing as well as possible. I hope you're doing okay. And thank you all so much for the first year of AJCantFail. Thank you all for joining me on this journey, joining me for a cup of tea and a natter about trains and cars and wherever else is on my mind. So that's year one in the books. Here's to year two. Let's get after it.